Yeah.
And recording.
Yeah.
Oh. And we are back with another two-strap.
Hey, guys.
What up? Welcome to our bonus section, which is on a beautiful Sunday, if you're not cheapos like me.
How can you compel people to join?
I was so cheap. I didn't want to pay for a pay-per-view on a Sunday morning or on a Saturday morning. So he ended up at a bar at 11 a.m.
It was kind of hard, and we were done so early. I'm like, what am I going to do with the rest of my day?
It was really weird. And we drank a lot, too. So
I am a lightweight now, too. I have not been putting them back the way I used to.
Dude, I was like, what do we do now that we're tipsy and it's 2 p.m.?
Let's peruse a book fair and go to vintage stores and look for Halloween costumes that we don't need.
Yeah, it wasn't a productive midday, but at least we got to watch all the fights.
And we got to meet some really cool people at the bar we were at, and they bought us our whole tab.
Dude, that was crazy. So thank you to whoever did that.
Yeah,
if you ever see this, thank you for that. And make sure you're at True North next time so you can buy our next tab.
And maybe have a drink with us.
Yeah. Don't be so shy next time.
Yeah.
No, it was really cool. We met a lot of nice people at the bar. And it's one of those things where, like, I don't always want to go out because I don't always feel social or friendly or whatever, but when I do feel like doing it, it's really nice because when you only see the fans, like especially fighting in the Apex and stuff, you don't get to see the fans. You only avoid the ones online because those ones are almost always the worst.
The worst.
The worst. It's like even sometimes when they like you, they're still the worst. But whenever you meet a fan in person, they're always so sweet. They're so encouraging. They're so positive, and it makes you remember why you do what you do. Mm-hmm. So it's always awesome seeing people in public when I have the energy to be in public. Yeah.
It's a rarity for me.
It's a fun thing to jump on. I'm like, it's early, it's sunny outside, I'm feeling okay.
It's perfect conditions.
Let's see the
social
people.
Interaction.
Yes, let's go out into the world and meet the people. But yeah, it was fun, and there were a lot of good fights on this card, but there were a couple that just weren't fun. They were kind of sad, and I felt bad for both involved, and that's the Dos Anjos fight and the Chris Barnett fight. Both of them, they were fighting. Like, I feel bad for their opponents too, because you could tell that they were ready for a good fight. They looked good. They looked sharp. And then the fight ends and kind of an
Well,
asterisk.
don't feel too bad because they got their win bonus.
They did.
They did. They got in and out of there fast, and they got paid for it.
But they didn't get their performance bonuses because it was the ligaments that took them out, not their actual attacks.
Fair point.
Yeah. So Jeff Neal, he fought Rafael Dos Anjos
on his 40th birthday for RDA.
No.
And yeah.
Why?
I know. He was looking for a celebration, and now he's probably going to have surgery.
I mean, that's always kind of rough to do something on a big day like that.
That's not my favorite thing to do.
If he was turning 37, it wouldn't have been as big of a deal. But the big 4-0,
man,
you're going to fight on the big 4-0, and then your ligament gives out. You blow your knee out. The only thing worse than that is like breaking your hip on the way into the cage. Like some real old person shit, like, oh, I'm falling and I can't get up. Like, that sucks.
Or, waking up and pulling your back out, just stuff like that.
Yeah, turning your head too hard and then getting whiplash and not being able to move your head for the rest of the fight.
Sitting cross-leg and, Now your
Your
legs
knees
are
give
numb
out.
and your knees give out. Yeah, exactly like that.
Yeah, we have to stretch after every segment that
It's
we
rough,
film.
guys. It's rough.
And we can old slander because we're there. We're there. We know the feels. So
We do.
I'm sorry, RDA, that happened to you. But man, I felt horrible for both of them because Jeff Neal, he looked great. Dos Anjos, he looked ready to do his Dos Anjos thing. He really does seem like time doesn't really affect him as much until tonight.
Yeah.
And so it seemed like he either stepped back or something weird happened after he got hit, and he just fell immediately, almost like he was like trying to pull guard or something, and then he's holding his leg, and it was just really hard to watch.
Yeah, it was, most likely it's not due to just being old and in the cage. It's one of those things that was probably a pre-existing injury that he had been nursing for a while, and it was probably on its way out, and it just met that perfect opportunity to say no more.
Yeah, when you're in fight camp, especially, you're always trying to just make it to the fight, like make it to that finish line, so you can get your paycheck, so you can hopefully turn the engines on once the fight starts, and the adrenaline usually takes care of whatever aches or pains or illnesses you had on the way in. The adrenaline, nope.
Adrenaline's just like a cortisone shot, basically.
Yeah.
Just like it kind of numbs you. It takes it away.
Yeah, everyone always asks, like, man, who hit the hardest that you've ever fought? And it's like, I mean, I can't tell you because I didn't feel anything because I was a monster at that point. Like, I was just an animal attacking and not really registering what hurt and what didn't hurt. But yeah, like when something serious like that happens, like a sprain or like a ligament like rupturing on you, then you definitely feel that through all of that. Mm-hmm. So that sucks. But then Chris Barnett's was even worse. He was fighting.
He did the Ortega.
Yeah, he was fighting Nchukwu.
Your guess is better than mine.
No, you usually are on top of it. Kennedy Nchukwu. He was fighting him, and he did the jump.
And
we've talked about the jump before. Jessica, your theory is that there's a certain body type that can do the jump. Is Chris?
And there's a certain one that cannot.
Is Chris that body type?
Well, we just saw Chris is that body type. That should not. I hope he never does it again. And it sucks because he's had a rough one. He was supposed to fight a couple weeks ago, and the hurricane in Florida ended up taking out of the fight because he couldn't leave the state.
Dang.
And then I think he's had a couple more fight cancellations too.
Yeah, and then so, his wife dying too.
Oh
that was one that took him out for another year. And to see him back and so happy to be like weighing in and on the scale and then doing his signature walkout and everything. I was so excited to see him. And, I didn't care what happened in the fight. I just wanted him to go out there and have a classic Barnett performance. And he tried so hard to make it work, really even after the jump and the injury. It looked like everything that he did after that made the injury worse too.
Yeah.
Like I was heartbroken for him. And, he's a big boy. I think, like you were saying, just trying to make it to the finish line can put so much stress on something that it's already going to be a problem. And then you get in there and you're just feeling yourself and the adrenaline's going. And then he does the jump and it's just like, oh, that was the last straw that broke his knee, that last little bit, and just pushed him over the edge. And yeah, he couldn't make it back. And then on Kennedy's side, he was doing a really good job of just keeping Barnett from getting close to him, stab kicking him to keep him away. It looked like the body shots were hurting more than the knee for a second.
Yeah, he was doing a great job of just keeping him at the end of his strikes.
Yeah. So I felt horrible for Barnett there because it really looked like if you can't push off of that foot, if you can't close the distance, what can you do? He still threw a beautiful wheel kick. Mm-hmm. out of nowhere. Like, I want.
He moves. He moves in a way that he really should not be able to move.
I know. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it so much. I hope he heals up and he's able to get back in there. You know, like Chris Barnett is always going to be the guy to watch no matter what. So hopefully he's able to recover and get back to a good place where he's able to fight again. But man, it was really heartbreaking to see those two guys go out like that. Hopefully you guys get a speedy recovery, or not too fast, but
heal up.
Heal fully. And then they were saying the ACL thing was pretty recent too.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, take your time getting back in there.
A lot of those, a lot of times people get ACL surgeries and they'll end up going back too soon and they'll re-tear them in their therapy.
Yeah.
We've seen that with our friend Dominic Cruz. We've seen it with Kat Zingano, our other friend. I've seen it with Justine Kish. Like, knees are nothing to push, you know. You want to take your time and heal and make sure that everything is completely intact and connected before you try and get back in there.
Yeah, for sure. Well, on a lighter note, we had people continually asking Dana White about the atomweight division.
Man, I've been asking about that since the Ultimate Fighter 20.
So for whatever reason, this is a thing that everyone wants to know about now. Like, everyone's like, Dana, what are you talking about with the atomweight division? How likely is this? Tell us what's going on. So the latest thing that he said was that Mick Maynard says there's not a deep enough talent pool to bring in an atomweight division right now.
That is such BS. Especially, you guys are going into Asia. You know how many atomweights live in Asia? They're all there. All the atomweights are in Asia. All of them. And for them to say that, we could say the same thing about the women's featherweight division. We could say the same thing about, honestly, the bantamweight division. It's still a lot of flyweights in there.
Yeah.
You know? It's something that I feel like is not a big enough reason to not do it. It's just not.
Yeah, like, just do it. What's the worst that can happen? You get stuck with another flyweight division? They're doing all right. There's a lot of fun matchups.
Yeah, they're doing great.
Everyone loves to watch them.
I feel like I've been waiting my whole career for there to be an atomweight division.
I mean, if you look at the past episodes, you confirm that.
I've been talking about this for a long time.
It's a talking point that comes up often, but now it seems like it's coming up as often in Dana White's press conferences. So, hey, maybe the fact that people keep asking about this might actually become a thing. And, our friend Corey McKenna, she was recently released from the UFC. She's someone who definitely has the frame for an atomweight division. Same with the girl that we saw at
the Contender Series.
At the Contender Series during your fight week. She won the fight, but she didn't get signed because Dana said she was undersized. And I think that's when they first started talking about bringing the atomweight division into the UFC. It was like, there's a lot of undersized girls here. I saw another girl, I don't remember if I think it was my Pinheiro fight week. There was another girl who fought on Contender Series or fought at the end of the road to the UFC. I think she lost, but she fought a girl who was a bit bigger than her as a strawweight, and she definitely seemed like another person who would fit really well into the atomweight division as well. She was, I think, Japanese wrestler, and there's a lot of talent out there. Like, there's a lot of talent in Invicta. I think there would be more if Invicta had more cards. Mm-hmm. You would see how deep the pool really is. It's just hard when there aren't a lot of avenues for you to work towards. Mm-hmm. And when I was getting ready to do MMA, I was considering to just do it for fun, not for an actual, career choice. I'm like, I'll do that. I'm already fighting Muay Thai for fun. Maybe I'll do an MMA fight one day for fun. But when the UFC announced that they were going to bring in women, I'm like, maybe eventually they'll bring in my weight class. And then when they brought in 115, I'm like, close enough. All right, let's try it out. So when you build it, they'll come.
Yeah.
Like the talent will come. They'll come from like the Olympic Training Center. They'll come from kickboxing. They'll come from everywhere in order to compete. My kind of special goal for when I become a coach. Now, this doesn't have to do with the atomweight division, but if the featherweight division is still a big thing, I feel like you should get women from like in WNBA, like a lot of like pro basketball players. And I feel like that would be an easy transition for them because they're already big and athletic. And then you teach them how to kick and punch and bam, you got you a whole slew of like, because I feel like there's more big women in NBA than there are big women in wrestling. Mm-hmm. So I feel like you can transit. Anyway, I digress, but that's my big plan for the future. Coach a bunch of basketball players into being MMA fighters. But I think the talent pool is deep for atomweights. I think you have a lot of tiny girls that are already martial artists. They're good grapplers, good wrestlers. And I always say the smaller weight classes are the most technical because they're the smallest ones in the gym.
Yeah. There's, I just think that them being so driven to, build the PI in China and them having the road to the UFC now, which is like all an Asian country tournament. I just think that they will see how deep the talent pool in atomweight really is. Yeah. Because they're in the place for it. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So it's just a matter of time. Hopefully
quit hating.
Hopefully
quit hating,
soon.
Mick. Get behind it. They're gonna wait for me to retire. We don't need you stinking it up. Another funny thing that happened this week. Everyone's been posting about it. There's a video that went viral because it was a boxing match. There was boxing happening in the boxing match, but then all of a sudden the boxer decided to throw a head kick.
He saw his opening and he took it. And he got a KO.
Dude, that was crazy.
He knocked him out flat.
I can't believe he did that. But that's the thing.
Nobody can believe he did that. And he's banned for life now.
As he should. As he should be. But
at least he got a career in kickboxing.
But I gotta ask you, how often did the thought go through your head when you're sparring boxers?
All the time. I've shot a double leg sparring boxers. I'm not kidding you. I'm not kidding you.
Get out of here. Oh, wait, that's not legal?
I'm like, ooh. I mean, luckily she had a sense of humor. She knows I'm an MMA fighter, and she laughed it off. But I'm not kidding you. And so what I started doing was I just started cutting around the back. Anytime I saw an opening, instead of doubling, I would just go around the back.
They just make it so easy for you.
It's right there.
I'm like, nobody I spar in MMA lets me double leg them like this.
It feels good.
It feels good.
I just feel so powerful. And
no one in Muay Thai lets me head kick them that easy. It's there. Your hand is down. Your shoulder rolling. Like, what do you expect
You're
me to
wide
do?
open for it. How else are you going to learn?
Yes.
I need to help you. I'm being a good training partner by showing you where your holes are.
This is what's going to happen on the street where fighting is the most important because there's no referees.
This is how much I care about you.
Yeah. So I thought that was hilarious. And I feel like it must have been muscle memory. Like maybe the guy got rocked earlier and because Muay Thai fighters, MMA fighters, they take boxing matches all the time. I feel like maybe the guy got rocked earlier and he went into muscle memory mode because the transition was kind of something that you would practice a lot. It was right out of the clinch.
Oh, it was beautiful.
The referee didn't break them, which usually happens in boxing. You clinch and then the referee breaks you. They clinched, he turned them, and then right as he turned, he fired the head kick. It was technically like, no, it
was really nice.
You can't fault him for that, but I don't feel like he did it on purpose.
I think it was like a muscle memory. I think he was on autopilot.
Muscle memory with a bit of revenge sprinkled in there.
I'll show you.
Yeah, it's like when you get someone to the ropes and you shouldn't push further or else they're going to fall out of the ropes. But you do it anyway. There's a little bit of that.
And then you just help them back in.
Oh, my bad. Pull their ankle. Reel them back in. I don't know. But it's good that he's banned from boxing, because if that's your tendency to go into that, who knows what else he's going to do.
Knee him in the face.
He won the fight
Elbow.
via knockout. That's not fair. That guy has never fought with shin pads on, I'm sure.
I'm sure he's never been kicked.
I'm sure he's never been kicked in the face.
Those legs have done a lot of road work. They are not conditioned for taking a kick.
No, it's ridiculous. So, sorry, I feel bad for the boxer. I also feel bad for the head kicker, but not that bad, because you should be fighting in a different sport anyway.
No more crossovers for you.
No, you're not allowed. You can't be trusted. No special rules. Like, you're just street fighting from now on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Cereone was trying to come back to MMA. He retired a while back.
And did a lot of steroids, got hair transplant.
Ooh.
On that TRT train.
Yeah.
And now he feels great, of course.
Feeling like a brand new man.
He feels like a young man again.
Look
a
good, feel
spry
good, fight good.
22-year-old.
Yeah.
And now he wants to come back, and I'm not really a fan of it, you know? I think a lot of people have seen what McGregor did. You know, he went off and did a movie, did a bunch of steroids, and now he's coming back, 3 weight classes above where he, typically would fight, and I'm sure he feels great. And now, they're talking about him fighting, so why not everybody else? This is a great loophole for fighters.
Maybe they could make Donald Cerrone fight Conor McGregor and see whose steroids are the best.
See, that would be a little bit more enticing.
You know what they should do? They should just have a steroid fight league. Steroid fight league for everyone who decides to officially retire from the regular fight organizations.
Oh.
And then there's no testing pool. You're just showing up, you're fighting, but you can never be allowed to go back into the UFC, to PFL, to any organization that tests people.
Yeah.
Like, you just sign on a dotted line that I will never compete in these legitimate organizations again, but I'm going to do steroids and I'm going to make money fighting people and feel young, even though I'm like 50 or 60.
I think you're onto something.
It's basically Jake Paul's.
It's basically that. So yeah, there should just be a league of their own.
Yeah, just don't bounce around. That's what I don't like.
Yeah,
I don't like the bouncing around. If you need to feel good about yourself, if you need to do this to feel healthy and to feel young again, feel like you're not crippled and old, which happens a lot faster for us athletes because we put our body through so much damage and trauma that sometimes you need a little something to feel normal.
And you can't do it within the testing pool.
No, you got to go out and heal
Yeah.
with chemicals and science. But science, bitch. But if you just sign that you're never going to come back to a legitimate organization and attack natural athletes with your steroided abilities, then I think that would be fair and nobody would be mad.
Fighters retirement community. I like it.
We can have
the
like
octagon is a little bit softer.
There's a little more rubber on the fence.
Yes, exactly. There's a little bit more elasticity.
Yeah. I'd be into that.
I like it.
You have longer breaks in between rounds.
A little bit longer. Yeah, give them a minute and a half, 2 minutes.
Yeah, 90 seconds is enough for anyone to recover.
You can have all the tape and bandages you want.
Yes.
All the knee pads.
You can wear spats even.
Ooh.
Full body suit.
I'm liking this. I'm liking it.
Headgear. Oh, man. Yeah, I think we're onto something.
I think so. In between rounds, you can like take a pop of an inhaler.
Oh, yeah.
You can, drink carbs.
Yeah, that thing that you use to wake yourself up, that, what is
like
it, the
the
salts? Yeah, you could like, you do a
Yeah.
line.
Yeah,
if you're
you can
Connor.
do all of it.
Yeah, just a quick, all right. Let's fucking go.
Oh, I'm liking this. I think we need to write this down.
This is great. A lot of fighters
amazing.
talk about coming back, But I feel like if we came out with this organization, they would commit to coming back.
I think so.
Like, hey, before you try to get back into the testing pool, why don't you look at what we have to offer?
What do you say?
We know you'll be excited and intrigued. All right, we're doing it. We're doing it. Eventually, we just need money. So make sure you join.
Help us. Help us help you.
We won't need to spend it on a drug test or anything. We just need to spend it to leverage the athletic commissions to let us do it.
Yes.
And you know they can be bought.
Or we can just go on a reservation.
Ooh,
like they did back in my day.
Yeah, let's do it.
Lots of res fights.
Yeah, we're bringing back, what is it? The Cali Cage Wars or whatever. What was the one that Alima fought on?
Oh, that was No Explode.
Explode, yeah. We'll bring back Explode.
Yeah.
Yeah. No ACLs exploding on our watch because they've been injected. Oh, man. Well, another thing that affects retired MMA fighters is the antitrust lawsuit. That thing finally got settled. Yeah,
the lawyers are going to get all of it. They're going to get so much money, the lawyers that
we're supposed to, like, you know, be wanting to get us the most money.
No, they're getting all of it.
It makes you feel like they probably could have tried to get more money, but they were like, ooh, that's enough for us.
Yeah.
We only got to split this between like 20 people. Meanwhile, the 2,000-3,000 MMA fighters that have to split the rest of it are like, not as much as I thought it'd be.
No, it's not. It's not. You know, it is a win, though. I got to say, it is a win for, you know, the community. But I don't know that it's going to do what people were hoping it would.
Yeah. I think my biggest thing, because I didn't think I would get much from this, especially the time period. Yeah. I think I had like maybe 3 or 4 fights that were in the beginning of my UFC career, so very little pay. And I think what I was hoping most for it was that these retired fighters that were at the top of the headlines, were at the top of the fight cards, I mean, making the most money, we're going to be able to get a little kickback in the way that, you know, people always talk about, oh, NBA gets this percentage of profit, NBA players, NFL players, all these guys get this percentage of profit, and meanwhile MMA fighters get a very small percentage. And I was hoping that, you know, the retired fighters would get a kickback from that so that they could enjoy their retirement, not have to fight Jake Paul or
not have to come out of retirement and fight out some roided out teenager.
Unless they want to fight in our steroid league, which would be perfectly logical and a great thing to do.
Yes.
Call us.
Please.
But I'm not sure how everything's going to be divvied up because, you know, we talked to her, or I talked to Brian about him, assuming you did too.
Yeah, me too.
And I'm just hoping that everyone who falls in that category is going to try to collect the money because there's a lot of money on the table.
Yeah, I hope that they have a little bit more order and ways to get these people paid out, because receiving all the emails, it was a little vague. You know.
Oh, you got an email?
Oh, I've been getting emails.
Dang, I didn't get any emails.
Since it's been, the case has been like approved, I haven't gotten any kind of correspondence. And that's when, I think we're going to have to get lawyers involved and just make sure the money gets to where it's supposed to go.
Yeah. So, hey, if you know an MMA fighter that's not in the loop, make sure you tell them to go get your money. Because I honestly feel like there's going to be a lot of money left on the table. Like, you have fighters involved who have passed away, you know, and their families probably, there's a good chance their families don't know what's going on with the antitrust lawsuit. You have fighters who are just out of the loop, who wanted nothing to do with UFC after they retired. And you just have people who don't really pay attention to that kind of stuff, like active fighters who fall into those categories. So hopefully everyone's on top of it. It also seems like people don't really ask about it in the press conferences because they don't want to get X'd You're out of here.
Understandable.
Go hang out with Ariel Hawani.
You can't show that you're excited about it.
No.
You have to act outraged.
Just act like it doesn't exist. Like Francis Ngannou. Act like none of that exists.
He was going off on Francis Ngannou as well.
I know.
How true do you think that is, that they were offering him more money than what he's said that he's gotten?
I think he must have meant that in the long run, he would have been paid out more staying in the UFC than being in an organization where people aren't really paying attention.
Yeah.
Like that's my take on it, because Francis Ngannou, he's still not as big of a name as John Jones. He's not as big of a name as Conor McGregor, but he's rich.
He can retire.
He's rich. He wasn't rich before he left.
He doesn't need that trust money.
You know, like he was definitely getting to rich category, but when it comes to like being a multi-millionaire, now he can say that. And I don't think he could say that when he was in the UFC. Yeah. But he definitely would have gotten there eventually after a couple more fights, after getting his pay-per-view points and everything. The UFC promotion engine is definitely a lot better than the PFL. Like, I've bought a couple of them, but I wasn't happy about it, you know. But it is good that there's competition. You can't have a monopoly, or you don't want a monopoly as a fighter in the UFC, because that means that they're not going to be trying to be better, or there's no incentive to try to be better. Everyone's going to go to this one place to get their MMA. And when you have something like PFL, you have something like ONE FC, you have all these other places where they're showing fights as well, and good fights, and you have stars, then that's just good for the overall MMA economy. But I don't know. I feel like Francis is a lot richer because of the decision he made. He did boxing. He boxed twice. That's already more money that he's ever seen in his career. And then he went and won the title fight in PFL. So he's sitting pretty. Yeah. I don't think there's really an argument there.
I don't think he has any regrets of his decision.
No,
not
at
all.
Well. And bottom of the line is Francis Ngannou is happy. Like, he's happy. He's Dana White right now. Like, he is a fighter and he's Dana White in the PFL. Like, who would still want to answer to somebody even though they're rich? I feel like that's why Conor hasn't been back. He doesn't want to answer to anybody. So I think Francis Ngannou made the decision that made him happiest. And, you know, Dana doesn't like hearing about it, because that does disrupt the system. When you're not able to control your fighters, then it takes control away from the company. And Francis Ngannou, he broke the mold. He did something that no one else has been able to do, not even Conor, because Conor is still attached to the UFC brand, and Francis Ngannou isn't. So I feel like that's kind of the reason that, I don't know, that there's always going to be like kind of that sour taste in both of their mouths when they speak about each other. And honestly, I think they're both happier not dealing with each other. So it's kind of like one of those Max Holloway-isms. It is what it is. Yeah. But one thing I want to know the tea with is, how does Dana think that Francis Ngannou is a bad person? Did you hear that part?
No.
So,
what did he say?
He went off. He pulled one of his Stitch during, like, Stitch was never my friends with Francis Ngannou.
No.
He did. Dana, what happened? You got to spill the beans. So, basically, he was saying that Francis Ngannou wasn't a good person, and people vouched for Francis, and that's why he didn't cut him before the Stipe Miocic fight. And then after he got beat up, he was happy about it because Francis showed his ass and saying and proved to him that he wasn't a good person. He didn't say what that was. which makes it very hard to, but like just being in the same room with the guy, seeing what he's done, seeing his past, seeing the charity that he's done, it's very hard to believe that.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
especially coming from the source.
Oh, he's not all bad. He's always been good.
Shut up.
He's always been good to me.
Yeah.
That's your boss.
Angela Hill released from the UFC. Free speech, damn it. You believe in that. But you know, it's very hard to believe, but I would love to hear what actually went down. And for whatever reason, Dana isn't given the details as to what exactly it was that made him not want to do business with him.
Interesting.
So I really want to know.
I want to know too.
Yeah.
I feel like we can dig something up.
Oh, do it.
I feel like
send a text.
I feel like we could.
Send a text.
Aren't you in a group chat with two people that could probably give you some tea too?
Oh, I mean, I feel.
Just say something funny. Get their attention.
I know. I'm on thin ice because I'm always a nuisance when I don't have a fight. I'll wait until I get a fight announced. Get your fluffy tail out the way. Yeah. I'll wait until I get a fight booked, and then they'll know when I'm bothering them is not just to get a fight booked.
Ah.
All right,
yes,
that's how I'll play it.
Good
all right,
strategy.
guys, stay tuned. We'll see what we can get.
Ooh, I can't wait.
Was there anything else you wanted to dive into?
No, I think we're good for right now.
Oh, we did have some fan questions, but
Oh, tell me.
I don't know. I think we already hit them all. Sometimes the fan questions seep into my head, and then I just talk about it without saying why. Which one is Mike Tibek fight?
What?
Hold on. A lot of these names, they'll autocorrect. Oh, Orolbai.
Orolbai.
Yeah, fighting. Okay, somebody said fighters fighting for their own good. Your thoughts if the ref should have stepped in for the Orolbai fight.
Oh, and, like they were too tough for their own good kind of thing?
Yeah. And honestly, like, unless he had not come back in the way that he did, I would have wanted that fight to be stopped. But I do feel like every time it felt like a good time to stop it, he would do something.
Yeah, he was in the fight. He wanted to be there.
Yeah.
He wasn't turtling up. And I mean, he had every excuse to show that he wanted out of that fight, but he didn't. He was unrelenting in his pursuit of finishing that fight.
Yeah, so he did a good job of just doing just enough to not get it stopped. Mm-hmm. But I wouldn't have been surprised just because of the visuals of a ref jumping in at any point.
Sure.
And I've seen people, friends usually friends, because I'm like, they're fine. They were fine. But a lot of times with friends, you'll see them get a big knockdown. The guy comes back, they knock their friend down, and then the fight gets stopped. And it's always like, man, that was too early. You could have given them more time. I think there's never a bad to fighters. It's never a bad thing to let the fight go on just a little bit to see how it plays out.
Sure.
To fighters, I think to the fighters' family and friends, it's the opposite.
It's a little different.
It's a little different.
My baby.
No, don't
save him.
But I mean, I don't think Orolbai has any problem with that fight continuing. If anything, Rebecki is mad because he could have gotten a finish. He could have come out with a lot less damage if they had stopped it there. But yeah, I definitely feel like the ref was on top of it, and it was a good decision in my eyes. Yeah. Let's see. And that was a question from Miller Light 721 on Instagram. Then we also had Ian Clutt on Twitter asking thoughts on Max moving up. And we kind of talked about that earlier, but we like it.
Yeah, I think he's at a point in his career and who he is as a fighter where he can call his shots. He can, go do those super fights, mix it up in the divisions, and do whatever he wants, really.
Yeah, I agree. I love watching Max fight. I think with everyone but 2 people in the UFC, he doesn't have a great night. So to keep wheeling him out for more fights, especially where he can be more healthy, come in at his walk around weight, have a good head on his shoulders, and just fight and put on another great performance, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
And then
oh no.
Well, Mr. Eyes of 9 asked, or pretty much just said, Bobby Knuckles' teeth.
Oh, don't remind me.
Popped out like they were trying to get away. I think they were trying to go in. He's trying to swallow him.
Trying to go in where it's safe.
Yeah, no more pressure. That was horrible. It makes you think, would you ever, if you were fighting someone with insane pressure like that, would you ever wear like the football mouth guard where it's double, it's like top and bottom mouthpiece?
I've never tried it, so I really can't speak on, how comfortable it is.
I hate them. I felt like when I first started training, I would always, I did it, and then everyone who would come into the gym the first time would do it on accident, where you get the only mouth guard at sports place.
Like Big Five.
Yeah, and it would be the football mouth guard with the top and the bottom, and you just use that because you don't know any better, and you can't breathe for shit. Like,
yeah, I don't think I would ever do that. I know. Have you ever seen some boxers use? There's a top and bottom, and it's this huge mouthpiece, and there is a bigger space for you to breathe. But it's pretty invasive. Like it covers like all of your gum line. It covers the bottom and the top row. I don't think I could do that either.
Yeah, although so much. But if a boxer can do it, like maybe it's better. I just think with the grappling and the clinching and stuff, a mouth guard like that just obstructs your breathing so much.
Yeah, I don't think I would like it.
Yeah, me neither. All right, well, that's all we got for this week. Next week we got some fun fights coming up.
Oh yes, we do. We have Moreno versus Albazi.
Ooh.
In the main event at flyweight.
In
we
Canada.
We also have Aaron Blanchfield taking on Rose Namajunas, and Derek Lewis is back taking on, Jonata Denise.
Who's that?
I don't know.
You're not going to tell me who that is. Oh, okay. He got a knockout over Austin Lane. He beat Carl Williams, so this is a huge step up for Jonata.
Yeah, he's a replacement for Alexander Romanov.
Okay.
Yeah,
Ooh,
who was
so
originally scheduled to fight Derek.
Yeah, so that matchup makes more sense. But yeah, Derek Lewis, he usually does well against guys like this.
As long as he's not on the main event in Texas, he's fine.
Oh, man.
I know. It's the hometown curse.
It happens. That's a real thing. It's too much pressure. You start to build up a phobia of that spot. Like, I have the same thing with the Apex. I'm just like, every time I step into Apex, I fucking hate it. I could just feel the weight of all the other losses from there. The split decisions, the bad fights, it's just horrible. Hoping and praying my next one is in front of people, real people.
Yeah, you're going to get one like out in the boonies, out in another country for that.
Oh, yeah. I love that. Boonies show up. Like, people show up. They were saying how the Abu Dhabi fights, because they've been there so many times, they start showing up late now. Like, that first fight was pretty crazy. Like, you were saying that you thought that could have been fight of the night before.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was thinking the same thing when I was watching it, but the crowd was silent. And if you had that fight in the boonies or the first time that they went to Abu Dhabi, they would be packed from head to toe, the stadium screaming at every little thing that happened. So I'm happy with the boonies. Give me the boonies before the Apex any day.
You just won't like that 33% tax that you have to pay on top of the U.S. taxes.
Yeah. Maybe not Australia, but
they're fucking terrible.
Somewhere else, please. And yeah, what other fights are there? Just those three interesting ones.
Those are the interesting ones. All the other ones. Oh, we have some ladies on the card. We have, that makes sense. We have Canadian Jazz Duvicious. And she's taking on Ariane Lipski. That should be a fun one.
Oh, you got Pedro Munoz fighting Zahabi. I'm not familiar with him, but he must be good if they match him against Pedro Munoz and he's on the blue corner side.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Charles Jourdain. I love Charles Jourdain.
And I love Victor Henry, so that's gonna be a fun one too. Oh, should we make some picks?
Oh, yeah.
Shall we?
Yeah.
All right. Let's start with that one. I'm gonna pick Victor Henry for that one.
I'm gonna go for Jourdain.
Okay, so that's one. Who else you want to throw something on? What about the women's flyweight? You feeling good about either of those girls?
I'm going for Jazz Duvicious.
Really? All right.
I've called some of her fights in CFFC back in the day, and I've followed her career since she's been in the UFC, and I really like what she's doing. I think she's got that one.
She's pretty nasty, but I'm going to go with Lipski. I'm going to go the opposite of that one. And then how about the main and co-main?
All right, I'm going for Namajunas. And I'm going to go for Albazi.
Okay.
Because I know you're going for Moreno.
I
know you are. So I'm just going to play devil's advocate here. I'm going on the other side.
All right. Well, I'll play devil's advocate and go Blanchfield, even though I was going to go Namajunas. So don't be mad at me, Rose. This is just for the fans.
Her heart is with you.
My heart is with you. And then we're both going Lewis because
we got it.
Yeah, that's the only smart one. All right, so those are our picks. We'll see who gets it right. Make sure to make your picks on duelbits.com and then use our affiliate link. I forgot we have one.
Yes, we have a 2 Straws affiliate link.
Yes, so go to duelbits.com and use the code 2straws, number 2 straws, all one word, and you can, I think it's like 10%. Or something. I don't know. Go try it and tell us what it is. And you can get like a little boost on your picks for next week. So make sure you do that. Go with my picks. Go with Justin's picks. Go with your own. We'll see who wins.